clicking intensifies. I guess the message didn't go out that I'm live streaming. It happens sometimes, usually when there's a lot of traffic on the platform. You start live streaming and people aren't notified that it's horrible. You think that maybe you lost it. Maybe you're not charismatic anymore. Maybe even DSP is more popular than you. But no, it's just the algorithm that fails to notify people. So I will not sneeze today because I have managed to get healthy. Okay, I prayed to Pfizer and Pfizer made me well. Blessed be. Blessed be thy Pfizer. But in all due honesty, I do have some interesting stories to tell. Hello, Koenig. How's it going? And we're going to be talking about cats today. We're going to be talking about how you guys celebrated Christmas. By the way, this was one of the questions that I really hated at school. How you celebrated blah. You know, it's like, what did you do in your holiday? This is like when the teacher goes at school and the teacher is also after the holiday and doesn't really feel like teaching anything. So he goes, how was your holiday? How was your blah, blah, blah? And let's ask the class, how did you guys... Oh my God. It was horrible. A dreaded thing. But with that aside, I did have a great Christmas. The only problem is that This Week is Stupid is delayed. It's actually done. I finished it. But unfortunately, the way I do it, like I used to upload This Week is Stupid and then it would get demonetized. So I was like, oh God, here we go again. And I would have to request a review and then they would review it. But by the time it reviewed, the algorithm wouldn't promote it. No one would watch it. I would be sad because I work a lot on it. So what I do now is I upload This Week in Stupid. I tell the bot that it's haram and it's immediately demonetized. So I ask for a review. And usually it's done within a day, but now it's been 2 days and it's still not done. So I assume the YouTube moderators are taking a break for Christmas. So with that said, it's going to take a little bit longer until they can review my request. All right. Zoomed celebrated Christmas by eating a lot. I mean, that is a good way of celebrating it. It's kind of funny because my wife said, hey, should we go on a diet? And I'm like, when? The middle of December. And I started laughing. One of the most annoying things on Christmas is that you have to visit family members. And I'm not talking about your mother and your father. No, like people that are distant and you don't really want to visit them, but you should. And when you visit them, they want you to eat the stuff that they made. And if you don't eat the stuff that they made, it's customary, at least in my country, for this to be considered offensive. There's not a lot of things you can do to offend a Romanian, but not eating the food that they made, oof. Especially when it's with the elderly women, right? Like if it's a grandma or someone like that, like they want you to eat the food that they made. So you have to visit all these fucks and all of them want you to eat from their food. It's very painful. I don't understand how anyone that like I wonder like how a person that actually would have a medical condition where they need to be on a strict diet would handle Christmas. Hello, Abdi Muhammad. You know, someone that really can't relate with what I just said, but I don't think it's a. Is there an Islamic tradition where you have to visit all of your family members and they all give you food? And if you refuse the food, it's very offensive. Like they would consider that to be an insult to their honor, a plight upon their entire household. It's not just eat the borscht. So let me show you the things that I hate. One of the things that I hated on every Christmas is the food that's served cold. So this is actually the worst one. Like this instantly makes me puke if I even remotely touch it. Like this is the one food that I know of in the world which can make me instantly vomit, and it's a Romanian cuisine. So it's made out of pig usually, and it's called like răcitur. So it's translated to like things that are cold, right? So they serve it cold. And it's like this jello-y substance. I don't know what the fuck it is. I think it's fat. Whatever, you know. But it's got a lot of garlic in it, and it's just disgusting. It is vile, absolutely vile. Like, look, I don't care if you're insulted if I'm not having your food. I am not touching that. There is no way you can get me to touch that. Even if I was to get like a $300 super chat like I got on Christmas, and it would be you only get the money if you eat the reciture, I would be like, no, sorry, like absolutely not. That is vile. Um, it looks like cat food, doesn't it? It's not like cat food. I don't. Okay, let me actually see how it's made. I will tell you exactly what that is. So, how to make rachituri? Romanian garlic chicken aspic. That's what they call it. So you can use pig or chicken, right? So Romanian families would sacrifice a pig at the beginning of December. They use it to prepare all sorts of delicacy for the holidays. Nothing was left aside. Yeah, so back then people didn't have a refrigerator. So the moment and people were very poor, right? You didn't have the meat industry. So people would sacrifice one pig and then it would take like they would eat everything from it, right? Um so this is one of the dishes which uses some of the meat, but most importantly, it's the pig's feet. When boiled, the feet create a lot of gelatin, which causes the dish to thicken like a jello when cold. So it's not so easy to find pig feet abroad, so people are missing this very beautiful delicacy. And apparently, you can also use other things like stuff from chicken or turkey. Apparently, you can use it. So there is a variation to the recipe that can be easily prepared with fairly common ingredients, and you can use packaged gelatin. All right, so 3 pounds of chicken legs or wings, one head of garlic, peeled and mashed, one carrot, one parsnip, one onion, two celery. And like, I mean, imagine how vile it is to mix onion with garlic. Like the combo, just like no. If you eat from this and you go out and you cough, there's going to be crows falling down from the heaven. Like the birds are falling down. You're like a nuclear. My God, I remember like when you take public transport in Romania on Christmas, and there's like an old lady behind you that asks you, "Ishani, do you know what time it is?" And like the smell just knocks you out cold. It's at least a two-turn stun. So you boil the chicken in water, and then you discard the foam periodically, like you make a soup. And then you add the carrot, parsnip, the onion, all of the other things. You boil it for an hour. You add the garlic, and then the thickening. The chicken bones and skins are most likely insufficient to make the soup coagulate. So what you need to do is to take a bit of soup in a jar, place it in the fridge until it cools, and check its consistency. No, this is just like the most vile thing ever. It makes me want to puke only when talking about it. It's just unbelievably bad, very very vile. I would not recommend. Definitely not. um, the more garlic, the better. Dude, it's look. Maybe you have some weak garlic in America. I mean, it's possible. You know, it's kind of like the people who eat red peppers and they say, "Oh, this is so spicy." The Romanian garlic is like the Trinidad scorpion and up of the chili peppers. Like, let me show you, right? So this is the pepper scale, right? So this is based on the spiciness. If you go from down, you get like a normal bell pepper, which is not spicy at all, and then you go all the way up to the Carolina Reaper. Now, obviously, Carolina Reaper and Trinidad Scorpions, you're not going to find them in stores, right? So it's more like if you're in a specific country like Mexico, or in a country where people actually eat spicy. Now imagine with garlic, and when I say garlic, I want you to imagine the taste, like the aroma, the essence of garlic. Americans would probably have like the garlic that's the bell pepper, like the basic bitch garlic. In Romania, we have from Trinidad scorpion to up. Like if you eat the Romanian garlic, you can floor people with your breath. It is unbelievably vile, and it's not that I don't like it. It's You don't need to be a vampire in order not to appreciate the smell of garlic in Romania. Jesus, Amak. Look, okay. This is what I don't get. I really appreciate the donation, Amak. But have all the people broke their piggyback recently? Because I'm getting a lot of thick super chats. So I'm wondering, like, did people declare war on these things? Like, Amak, did you went and took a hammer to your little piggy? It's actually really cool. Like, you get a little safe. I just noticed this. So you get a little safe and you can put the money in. I'd have loved to have this when I was a kid. This looks cool. But yes. So thank you, Amak. I appreciate it. Let me actually see how much is this. Is that Philippines? I think it's Philippines. Let's look. So Philippines to US. It's probably a lot because it's red, right? Let me check. The Philippine pesos. Yeah, it's actually, yeah. I don't know. I can't find it. Um, Damn it, the currency is not going to dominate me. Whoa, it's 100 RON. It's not that bad. I'm actually humbled by the donation. Thank you so much. Philippines, yeah. Anyway. Have you watched the video Facebook Requiem, Socialize the Social Network? No, I haven't. Let me see what else we got. So, another Romanian dish, and this is what I need to eat. And this one, by the way, is actually good, right? Sarmale. So, the way sarmale is made is by having pickled cabbage, usually, and then you wrap the minced meat around it. The meat is usually made out of pig. Can be done from other things though. I mean, I have seen sarmale that's made with rice. They look like this. So I have seen sarmale that's made with rice. I have seen sarmale that's spicy, or like the sheep. Yeah, like they do sometimes come in the sheep variety. So you expect these to be on every Christmas table. It's actually really great. It's like no foreigner that has ever stepped foot on Romania has said that that sarmale is bad. Like everyone actually either likes them or loves them. It is just the most delicious thing in the Romanian kitchen, and I think they come from Turkey. I think it's the Turkish influence when we are under the Ottoman Empire. So then you also have this, which is mamaliga. It's another Romanian dish. It used to replace bread. It's the peasants that were making these because they couldn't afford the grain, so that they would make mamaliga. This also is tasty. A lot of people, again, foreigners, they love it. Let me see what I don't like though. The buff salad. I don't know how you pronounce it. Why is it called buff? I think it's French influence or something like that. It looks like this. It's not really that bad, but again, it's like a food that's cold. I really don't like eating cold food. I prefer eating food that's warm. So the buff salad, it's got pickles in it. It's got corn. It's got like almost everything. It's like someone was like some cook was bored, some chef was bored one day and just decided to throw everything in it until this came out. I think the mayonnaise is what's keeping it together, and as you can see, it's got peas, it's got carrot, it's got the pickle. Like surprisingly, it should be disgusting, but it's actually tasty. It's just that I personally don't like it because it's a food that's cold. So I just prefer warm food. The only exceptions to this is salami. I like eating it cold. But like I don't like food that's from the refrigerator and put on your plate. It's like, ugh, get it away. The only time I like cold food is like when it's finished, like when it's prepared and it's room temperature. But if you take something from within the refrigerator and you put it on my plate, like, ugh. Um, I see a lot of people complaining about this food, and I know they're from Norway. So, aren't people from Norway that just have like a pig's head or a sheep's head? Yeah, I mean, Google Norway pig head, and you get to see what I mean, right? So they just have like a pig's head on a plate, and I'm like, how the fuck do you even eat that? Like, why? Just cook it for fuck's sakes. Do something with it. Why do you just? Uh, and by the way, don't even get me started if you're Swedish with your surströmming delicacy. I did not buy an electric kettle. I don't understand why anyone would buy an electric kettle. So apparently they roast pig head in the Philippines. Again, just make some broth out of it. Just do something. I don't know. It's so weird. Like the pig's head. We eat the brain actually. So we do this with the brain. Yeah, we do this. Um, and it's tasty, I guess. But we would never eat an entire roasted pig brain. Like, why would we do that? It's weird. The snout is good. I don't know. Maybe it is. Oh yeah, the pig's testicle is actually good. Surprisingly, if you can forget what you're eating, they taste kind of like, like, have you ever ate a chicken and inside the chicken you find out that it had an egg, like an egg that was to be released, and you eat that egg, right? So you boil it, obviously. Like you boil the chicken in borscht, and within the chicken you find an egg that hasn't come out, so it doesn't have a shell or anything. It's just like, yeah, that's kind of how it tastes like. Apparently, people know about the bull nuts. So the Romanian tradition is that at the countryside, farmers would castrate their pigs, and the person doing the castration would get to eat the nuts. Which, by the way, was like, you think animal rights are something that existed in the past? No, no, absolutely not. They would castrate the pig alive. I don't even know how the animal would survive, but it sounds. I don't know. It's horrible. I don't even know how they managed to hold down the pig to perform that. How would the pig even trust you after you did that to the pig? And it wasn't just the pigs, like they would do it to cows and other things. I guess like they would do it when the animal was small, like that would make sense. Because I don't think you can do it to a mature pig. Yes, Bill. It's not just in Romania. Apparently, like all over the world, people do this. Not just with pigs, but like bulls and other things. Merry Christmas to you too, Darth. Where do you shop for chicken? Any supermarket sells chickens. I mean, I don't have a particular place. I just go to the supermarket. Usually Auchan. I think people from Europe would probably know this supermarket. It's where I do most of my shopping. Sometimes I go to the farmer's market, but yeah. Apparently they forget. I don't know if they forget, man. I mean, you would think the lack of cojones would be a constant reminder. No, see, like animals forgive and forget. That's not the case. Like for example, when I was a kid, I used to have a cat, and that cat at one point shit on the carpet, and my grandma who was there applied the correction to the cat, right? And at first I didn't know that happened, but then the cat constantly avoided my grandma. Like when the cat would see my grandma, the cat would always run away, and eventually my grandma told me what she did, and then it made sense. But like that cat never forgot. Like even years after the event, whenever it saw my grandma, it would remember. Not in England. Here in the civilized world, dude. Like in England, don't you have? Usually, the Scottish food is the weird one where you eat like a ship's stomach. Which country had like the ship's stomach, and it was all of the things inside it as well. So like all the undigested grass and stuff. It's not haggis because haggis is actually tasty. No, like you have like the stomach of the sheep and everything within it. Farmers market are a scam. Just under inspected food at twice the price because it's organic. So maybe that is a thing in your country, but in my country, food from farmers actually tastes better because the farmers don't raise their food in an industrial way. So it's not just that they don't put, like, for example, if you buy a chicken from the farmer market, it literally has a different taste. The color of the chicken is different. It's yellow because it stood in the sun and is the natural color of chicken. The one you get from the supermarket is bleached white because the chicken is never exposed to sunlight. So not only that, but the quality of the meat, right? A chicken that actually, and I'm talking about the free range chicken. And when I say free range chicken, I mean, let me show you what I mean. So, um, okay. So a free range chicken is like this. All right. This is how Romanian farmers raise their chickens. I mean, these chickens they get to run around, eat as much as they want. They have a lot of space. So it's nothing industrial. All right. And because of that, they legitimately have a different taste. And look, right, they can like usually they create these enclosures so that the chicken doesn't just they're very damaging to the environment, by the way. Like the chickens, if allowed to just go wherever they want and do whatever they want, they're going to cause havoc. But it's completely different than this. Okay, like and by the way, if I'm not mistaken, in some cases they call this to be free range because like the chickens get to move around. No, no, like this is not free range. This is what free range would look like. And even here, it's still not as adequate of conditions. But anyway, like most chickens come from this. All right, so that's the bleach white, never exposed to sunlight type of chicken that you get to see in the supermarket. Someone was watching my Game of Thrones season 8 rant. I don't even recall it. I know I was pissed off. Like the anger remains. The intellectual arguments have dissipated. How many testicles have I eaten? Not that many, to be honest. I mean, it usually was when some relative, like you can't buy them from a store. It's only if the relative has a pig and they slaughter it, and again, like it's considered a sin to throw away food. So all the usually almost everything from the pig gets made into something, and they use almost everything except maybe like the eyeballs and then the teeth. But other than that, like all the pig gets to be used, and yeah, the testicles are just part of the pig. Romanian cares about chickens. It's not about like caring about chickens. It's just that I'm telling you why I buy them from the farmers market. They taste differently. In America, free range only means a huge barn has 20-inch door on the outside. Yeah, no, 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 no. Like that's not what free range is here. That's probably what the meat industrial basic chickens are like. Yeah, there was actually a story that I've heard from someone, Abdi Muhammad. I'm really curious how you would react to this. So I know it from a guy who actually went to well, didn't end up in prison, but he went to see the dean of the university because of this. And the reason for it is that he had a Muslim friend, and the Muslim actually remained here on Christmas. He couldn't go back to his family, and on Christmas he actually took the guy home and tried to show him some Romanian traditional dishes. And the Muslim explained that he doesn't want to eat pork. And the guy goes, it's like, oh, that's fine, I'm not going to give you pork. So he gives him a dish, and the Muslim actually finds it interesting and then asks, like, okay, so what was it? And the guy goes, it was pig's testicles. So the Muslim gets angry and agitated and gets into a fight with the guy. And things were escalating because now the Muslim apparently had friends and wanted to express his displeasure on this guy. So eventually it gets escalated all the way to the dean of the university, and he managed to calm down the spirits. But yeah, I mean, it was an interesting story. And this was happening during communism. No, they don't give you steroid boosts or anything like that. I never found chickens to be cute. I just find them to be incredibly dirty animals. Yeah, so the way the Chinese are cooking duck, sorry, the way the Chinese are roasting duck is something that I like. It also depends on the way you cook the animal. Turkey, by the way, is something that I don't appreciate. I don't understand how Americans eat turkey on holiday, on Thanksgiving. But like it feels like a meat that doesn't have any taste. At least that's how I feel it. It's a very peculiar stringy meat, which is very tasteless. I don't like it. I don't understand how Americans enjoy chicken. Enjoy turkey. Sorry, I'm a little bit tired. Yeah. Especially if you get like a slice of turkey and you roast it, it's so meh. Like barbecued turkey, I guess. I don't know if it's correct to say it like that. Grilled, yeah, grilled turkey. So you take a slice of the turkey breast, and then you put it on a grill. Ugh. Oh, you juice it up. The turkey is dry, but you fill it. Okay, I see. That makes sense. Well, the thing is, like, you don't need to fill the chicken. It's already okay. Let's talk about something else that happened today, because I do have a little bit of news. Should I talk about it? You know what? Fine. So, a tactical shooter, Ready or Not, loses publisher after developer promises a school shooting mission. So, when you read the title, it sounds bad, but then again, I'm thinking, like, dude, this is art. Like, why do we censor art? There is a museum in the United States which has feces in it, like actual human excrement. Why? Because it's art. It's artistic. You can Google it. The Human Feces Museum, I think. And like, isn't that offensive? Isn't that disgusting? It is. So why would a video game having this be a problem. In fact, like you have TV shows with this. American Horror Story. I forgot which season. I think like season one actually. Yeah, in season one you have this. So why exactly is it a problem? Why is it so pearl clutching? And when you read what the game is actually about, it's not even as bad as you think. You get to play the SWAT, and you have to defuse the hostile situation. Right? So how, like it's fighting evil. Like you're the good guys fighting evil. There's no argument against this. But for some reason, it's pearl clutching. Like you're not supposed to do it. And it's not because people complained or anything. It's like, no, the publisher just meh. So they didn't give any reason. It's just like they said, the publisher said on Reddit, yeah, you better believe we're going to make a mission like this. And 1017 pulled out. So anyway, this actually makes me buy Void Interactive game. First of all, I actually enjoy tactical shooters, and secondly, I don't think it's correct. I don't think it's right for them to do this. Oh yeah, here you get the game. Oh, look at this! It's got overwhelmingly positive reviews. Oh, it kind. Oh my god, this is actually quite cool. It looks like the SWAT game. That if you guys play SWAT 4, that was really great. So I don't know if this is going to be like that, but it looks kind of cool.
One wrong move could make all the difference. While players command their own unit of operators, there's always someone higher in the chain of command looking for answers. Report everything to TOC, Tactical Operations Command. The directive unit.
Yeah, it looks great. I'm actually psyched up for the game now. I'm glad they did this. Like this is the publicity they needed. Yeah, I do get my PC games from Steam. Sometimes the PlayStation Store, but yeah, usually Steam. So yeah, when it's out, I'll get it. It looks cool. I didn't know, and I'm not getting it because of the controversy. By the way, I'm getting it because I actually like the SWAT 4 game, and I was really upset they never made the SWAT 5. But I guess now you can actually get something in that spiritual successor. So yeah. I don't pirate my games, believe it or not. It's due to the fact that I have money. And usually, games, when you pirate them, they don't have multiplayer. And I do want to sponsor the developers. Like, I want to support them. And, Steam is convenient. I mean, if you buy it once, you can go to another computer and you can still have it. So I don't pirate my games. There's probably, I mean, that there used, okay, that there used to be a time when everyone in Romania pirated games, but once Steam became available and it was very easy and convenient for people to get their games that way, there's no reason to. There also used to be, I remember like when PlayStation 2 or 3 came out, you could actually have a mod on your console, which was illegal, I think, and it allowed you to bypass the protection for the games. Um, don't support Ubisoft. There's nothing Ubisoft that makes which I want to play. I mean, recently Ubisoft came up with the concept of NFTs, which is pretty much like DLC that you can sell to another person and Ubisoft takes a cut. So, for example, I know it's from a different franchise, but imagine the Halo cat ears, right? So you have the Halo cat ears, and you can sell it to another person. Or here's a better example: you play World of Warcraft, and you have a rare mount. You got like the Celestial Unicorn of Celestialness. Now, you can actually sell that to another person and Blizzard takes a cut. So you can sell that mount for $50 and the person who buys it gives like 5 to Blizzard. Um, Ubisoft is now focusing on that, and like they're having an entire department on that, and I'm thinking, why can't you just focus on making a good game? So NFTs are scams. In this particular situation, they're really not, because it's kind of like you're buying a DLC and you can sell it to another person. So how is it a scam? I mean, you are getting what you're paying for. So, for example, Path of Exile DLC, like you get those, beautiful wings that you can add to your character. So you buy them and then you can sell them to another person. How is it a scam? If someone wants to buy it from a player rather than the company. Okay, League of Legends skins. Even a better example because everyone knows it. So a League of Legends skin. So Riot would put out a skin, which is an NFT, and you get to buy the skin for Ari, and then you can sell that skin to another person. And the question is like, why would you do that? It's like, well, because Riot would, for example, stop selling the Ari skin, so now it becomes very rare, and the only way to get it is to buy it from another player. How exactly it's a scam? It's kind of like a DLC that you're buying from a player rather than the company. Now, if it's a scam, as in like what other people are doing, because I saw like I think like Trump's daughter doing this. Like she was putting out a NFT art of herself, and people want to buy that so they can sell it more expensive later on. Yeah, it is a scam. But if you're talking about like a gaming company doing this, I think it's very immoral because, well, not immoral. I think it's counterproductive because it takes away time from them actually trying to make a good game, and they're investing more time into selling people shit. But yeah, digital scarcity is a scam. I don't know, man. Like, okay, so if League of Legends makes a skin that they're selling, and then they're not selling the skin anymore, how is it a scam? Yeah, I would never buy that. By the way, like I don't buy DLC unless it's actual expansion packs. Like for example, XCOM had the DLC called Chimera Squad, which was woke as fuck. My God. But yeah, I would buy things like that because that actually adds to the game. But if they would add like a DLC where you can have like different armors and faces to the soldiers, no, I'm not buying that. Thank you, Jester. I appreciate it. I did not play Immortals Phoenix Rising. Does NFT and more like new crypto look like those old mining towns that had their own money that you would turn into real money, but return was so small that was not worth it? So that's actually different. It usually was so that the companies could get people to not leave, right? So like once you went to that mining town, you would have like your own currency. So you couldn't use that currency to transform it into real dollars, which meant that you were stuck in that mining town forever. Like you couldn't just leave. So that wasn't to like convince people to get rich. I do disagree with you. Like, see, the idea that digital scarcity can't exist. I gave you two examples. If you don't want to engage with my examples, then I don't see how we can continue the conversation. So if you have a company like League of Legends, let me look at a skin. So Ari skin. Let's. All right. I think this is safe. Yeah, safe. All right. So League of Legends releases this skin, and let's say it costs, I don't know, like $5 to get it, and you can make your Ari look like this. And after 1 year, they stop selling the skin. How exactly is it different than a comic book who stops printing issue number 1 of Superman? Now you can say, well, yeah, but like that is paper scarcity is different. No, because I can get your comic book and I can print it, I can Xerox it, and I can make it look identical to the one you have. So technically, it shouldn't have scarcity either. But it's still a collector's thing, right? So the only way you can get now Superman issue number one is if you convince someone that has it to give it to you. I guess the only difference though is that if I buy Superman number one, I don't give DC Comics a cut. But if you were to buy this Skin from someone else, you'd have to give Riot a cut. So that's how it works. It's pretty much like it's the same concept of DLC that we have up until now, except that people can now sell the DLC between each other. So you can probably make more money. Like if you're a person like me, a streamer, and let's say I get this Skin on a stream, and the video goes viral, then people will probably pay a lot for that particular skin because they know it's from that stream. But again, look, I'm not justifying what the companies are doing is good. I'm not, in fact, I'm encouraging people not to buy the NFTs because what you're doing is you're encouraging companies to spend more resources into doing this rather than focusing on the game. But there are people who are going to buy them the same way people are buying DLC right now. So there's not much you can do. But I wouldn't say it's a scam because you're getting what you're paying for. Right? You're paying for the DLC, which you have. So how are you getting scammed? Every time I come into your live stream, you're just blaming companies for everything. I literally just defended the companies, Abdi Muhammad. I personally don't like DLC, and I said this a million times, is that companies now, instead of trying to make a good game, are investing more into figuring out how to milk people of money. So I don't really appreciate that as a consumer. It's not in my interest if a company can milk people for money. Like, I want just a good game. The problem, however, is with the fact that I don't control what other people do, and as long as people keep buying DLC, I understand why companies invest money into DLC. Yeah, Billy, you haven't engaged with me with the argument, so I'm just going to not respond to you. You can't take a comic from someone. An online game can disappear, whatever the company feels like. Okay, well, I mean, this is a different argument now, and it's got nothing to do with NFTs. This is the argument of digital ownership. So everyone now owns their video games on Steam. Most people, at least. You know, in fact, I don't even think brick and mortar store for video games are going to be there for much long. But one day Steam can actually go down, and you're going to lose thousands of dollars of games. So this isn't just a conversation about NFTs now, it's about digital ownership. And yeah, you're right, you know, like a comic book can never be taken away from someone. But you know, like there's advantages and disadvantages. So a comic book can actually be destroyed, like someone can rip it off. While a game that's on Steam, it's very unlikely that someone will delete that game from the Steam server. If it's in my account, I can just download the game as much as I want, even if my computer catches fire and I lose everything. The next time I buy a computer, I can just re-download the digital games. The second thing is that with the digital copy, you can access it everywhere. With the comic book, you need to physically have it in your hand. But with a digital copy, I can have it on my smartphone, I can have it on my smart TV, I can have it on my computer. So I'm not saying one is better than the other. It's just that there's advantages and disadvantages to both. I own around 200 plus Switch games physically. Many improves because I hate the digital ownership. Yeah, but like again, Lord, unfortunately, we don't get to decide the market, so we don't get to decide what other people do. And the trend is that more and more people are buying digitally, which means that our video games are not going to be in physical format for much longer. Most video games are going to be digital from now on. Game on Steam can be revoked via suspension of account. Actually, they can't in Europe. See, they tried doing that with a Russian. It's actually a very interesting case. I think I talked about it. So there was a moderator from Steam who got us hurt because a Russian had done the hate sprache, and they terminated the Russian's account, so he couldn't access his games anymore. Now, the thing in Europe is that we have these government entities called the protection of consumer. They have like different names depending on the country you're in, but Russia has one as well. So what these things are pretty much is that the government pays a team of lawyers to sue on the citizens' behalf. So in Romania, for example, there is the Protecția Consumatorilor, the consumer protection, and they have an office. And you go to them and you say, look, this company has wronged me in some way. And what they do is they sue on your behalf. Like they're paid by the taxpayer. So they can have these lawsuits on your behalf. And they're very happy to sue companies, by the way. For two reasons. Like number one, they justify their existence so that the government doesn't shut them down. And number two, they can put fines on these companies and the money goes to the state. So this guy, this Russian guy, he goes to the consumer protection entity and says that Steam stole his games. So the Russian government sues Steam on his behalf, and guess what? He wins. And you can't do that. It doesn't matter what terms of service the company has. It doesn't matter what contracts the company have. If the contract sells you a product in Europe or Russia, for example, they are legally obligated not to take that product away from you, even if it's digital, right? So if you paid money for a Steam game, Steam doesn't have the legal right to take that game away from you under any circumstances. So they got fucked. Now, because of that, Steam now has a different way of handling people that do the hate speech, which is to block people from chatting. So you get your account flagged and you can't speak with other people. You can't add them as friends, but you can still play the games. They did not return that Russian's account? Man, I'm 100% sure that they did. I remember seeing it in the papers. Let me see if I can find it. I don't think I can find it in an opportune time. So look at this. This is the article. Apparently, it's from 2020. Steam user loses access game library after Valve perma bans him for extreme racismus. And he gave full context, and he said that according to Russian law, he got stripped of his rights, and he is now using the government in order to sue Steam. I filed with the Russian watchdog that deals with consumer rights protection law. I wait till the review is finished. Blah blah blah. So basically, like you don't even need to sue the company. You just go to these watchdogs, which are owned by the government, and they have a team of lawyers, and you just say, okay, well, this company wronged me. I bought a game from them, and now they don't let me access it, but I paid money. They're not giving me my money back. So that's what it is. Why is there lag in the chat? I think it's because the YouTube system is a little bit used up right now. Yeah, the problem with Steam is that the moment Gabe won't be in charge, you could have like a rainbow-haired guy with a pink beard who's going to have a more progressive, more modern view of how Steam should be run. And then you can have bots listening in to all your conversations, deciding what avatars you're allowed and not allowed to use, deciding what names you are and aren't allowed to use, deciding what you are and aren't allowed to say on the forums. And if you say something bad, then you lose your Steam account. At least I think in the US that would be possible. Again, in the European Union, not so much. They would just get lawsuits after lawsuits. I mean, even if, like, imagine if, let's say, the country doesn't win. So let's say some Russian, he gets his account banned and then he tries to sue and it doesn't work. He doesn't lose anything, right? But if every single person getting banned from Steam just sues, and Steam is going to have an entire legal team just defending tens of thousands of lawsuits, they're going to have a choice. Do we still do this, or do we just want to make money? I'd bet at this point, if I wanted to get my government to sue a company, they'd ask me to get vaccinated first. It's like South Park. I remember it's like, oh yeah, we can have a team coming down with a helicopter, but we need to know, is everyone vaccinated? uh, do you order to wear masks outside in Romania? So I think the police stopped enforcing it. Like they came out and they said they have more important things to do than to bother people about that. So that was strike one. Strike two was, I think, recently you don't have to. Um, Only in malls and stuff. But I walk on the street and I rarely see people with masks. Now, there are a couple of cities where people are religiously about it. And they want to Darth Vaderize themselves. But other than that, no. Like, I think even legally people don't have to wear masks. The, why would Anne Frankenberry be a mod? Did you super chat me? Huh? I sell the mods because I'm corrupt like an Eastern European. I would sue my government on behalf of a corporation. Well, nothing is stopping you from starting a corporation and suing your government. Yeah, I think the next year is the last year of the pandemic. Of course, there's going to be a couple of states that are a little bit more radical than the others. I mean, Australia, for example. Even The Atlantic, which is a very progressive publication, disagrees that what's going on with Australia has anything to do with health. Um, Austria and Germany, other examples. But overwhelmingly, I mean, in Romania and Eastern Europe in general, the rules are very lax. So I think more nations are going to be like Eastern Europe rather than Australia. So Anne Frankenberry used to be a mod, fine. Fine. You word my heart. Well, the thing with Australia, from what I can hear right now, um, most of the bad things are happening in the cities, and it's only a couple of cities. And there are rumors that the indigenous population are also being bullied. But other than that, like, you can still have a normal life in Australia if you're in a rural place. So that's what I heard. I don't know for sure though. Well, Abdi Mohammed, I don't know why you would think it would be legal for a company to give you a product that you pay for and then take that product away from you. So, in the case of Steam, for example, why would you think it's okay for you to buy a game on Steam? So you're buying, I don't know, what do Swedish people like you play? Counter Strike, okay? So you buy Counter Strike from Steam, you pay your money, and then Steam just goes like, nope, we're taking this away from you. Why do you think that should be the case? Now, look, I'm not saying that there might not be some terms of service or whatever, but by this logic, why would it be? Why would you be against kids working in the factories like they did during the revolution era? where people could work in a factory for 10 to 12 hours a day, Saturday as well. I mean, people used to fight in order to get the 8-hour workday. Yeah, people used to fight in order to get these rights. Now, of course, you can be of an ideology that's more in line, like, no, corporations should do whatever they want. Like, fine, I disagree. I think there should be a middle ground and some limits. I don't think it's okay. And I don't see, like, why I, as a customer, should want the company to unilaterally be able to take away my game that I paid for. I just don't see how it advantages me, Abdi. The point is literally you can't sue the government. I don't know about the Swedish system, so I can't say. But coming back to the thing with the Steam, and people going, my private company can do whatever it wants. I don't see how it is advantageous for me personally to want Steam to be able to shut down my game library. Like, why would I advocate for that? How in what situation would it be advantageous for me? And the thing is, like, Steam does have the power to do so, and I would rather them not. And by the way, like, sometimes companies enjoy when the government cracks down on them. Let me give you an example. The Jim Crow segregation, right? So I always wondered, why would some American companies not want black people to go to their establishment? Because it never made sense. It's like, okay, but like it's a customer, right? Like, you take his money. Why do you need to? So it turns out that the reason they didn't want to was because they had a couple of rich white people who wouldn't go to those companies anymore if those companies would open their doors to black customers. So they were very outspoken about it. It's like, we're not going to come to this hotel if you let people in that are black. So the hotel owner would probably want the patronage, but he would do the financial decision and be like, okay. Now, when the government said, no, it's illegal to ban people, the rich white people couldn't say anything about it. Like, because the company would be like, look, we would love to, but it's illegal to do it anymore. It's kind of the same when why boycotting Israel is illegal in the United States right now, for the same reason. It was OPEC, I think it's called, right? The biggest oil producers, which are Middle Eastern, would boycott any company doing business with Israel. So, for example, if you're a private company that require oil, like you're a car manufacturer and you're selling your cars into Israel, they would boycott you from buying oil. So the United States government just made it illegal to boycott Israel, and by doing so, the Muslim nations then, well, they couldn't do anything, because like all the companies would say, look, we would love to boycott them, but we just can't. So yeah, I haven't played Deus Ex 2000. Who owns and controls the games on your PC? Oh my god, it's a tough question. Well, technically you own them, but you don't really because like if so legally you own them. De facto, if let's say Steam servers shut down, so Steam closes up shop, which is very unlikely, but if that happens, you don't own your games anymore, right? So like, I mean, you do own your games, but you can't download them from anywhere. You can't play them anymore. So the answer is you own them, but there's a caveat. I love when people say it, they boycott Nestle and they have around 2,000 brands, all from coffee, Nescafe. Yeah. You don't own them. You have the temporary ability to play them. It depends where you're from. Again, if you're in Europe, if you're in Russia, you actually own them. Steam literally cannot prevent you from playing the games you paid for. Unless they give you a refund, I think. Like if they pay you some extra, then you own the right to play them, but you don't own the game. Um, it depends. Again, like if you're in the European Union, all the terms of service doesn't apply. So here's the thing: in Europe, and I think this is the same in America, but in Europe mostly, just because you sign a contract doesn't mean the contract applies if the contract is illegal. So, for example, assisted suicide. Okay, the person wants the service. There might be someone willing to provide, but the contract is still illegal in most European nations. So if you were to be a doctor and you sign a contract for assisted suicide, you go to prison. Even if the person signed, it doesn't matter. Now, the same logic applies to terms of service. So even if you convince someone to sell themselves into slavery, the contract is null because you can't make a contract that violates the law. Like the national law is more important than your contract. They literally can. They are not legally allowed to do so. It is different. Well, now you go into the de facto versus the legal way. Is Total Annihilation still available? So I don't think Total Annihilation is available, but there is a game that's very similar to it. In fact, it's not just in the spirit of Total Annihilation. It's pretty much like a ripoff, but with decent graphics. I forgot the name of it. So no, like you can't find Total Annihilation on Steam. When I remember the name of the game, I'll tell you. I remember it had 3 factions. It had a cyborg faction, a human faction, and then some alien, I guess, religious faction. So you had 3 factions to choose from, and it was a very good game. Damn it, I'm so pissed off that I don't remember the name of it. Supreme Commander, yes, that's it, Supreme Commander. And there's also more Total Annihilation-like games. I think there's one that's free. And there's another one which is really ugly because, I mean, you're on a planet, but like the planet is like a circle and the graphics is really bad. But other than that, yeah, I remember Total Annihilation. It was one of the best one of the best strategy games ever made. You can get Total Annihilation on Steam. I just looked it up. I couldn't find it, but I'll take your word for it. Still, I wouldn't play Total Annihilation just because the graphics are so bad. I mean, I'm not against playing a game with old graphics, but there is a limit. And I think Total Annihilation reaches that limit. But Supreme Commander is a really good replacement. So for those of you who don't know, no, it's a lot better than StarCraft actually. Supreme Commander is so you have the ability to produce, I think it's like 4 types of units. So you can produce vehicles, you can produce airplanes, you can produce robots, and you can produce naval ships. And the maps are huge, and you end up fighting like 200 with 200 units. I mean, it's so complex, and it's just absolutely amazing. It's one of the best games that I have played when it comes to strategy. Let me see if I can show you guys. But you know, it's really unfortunate because apparently, like strategy games, they got completely wiped out by the MOBA games. Like ever since MOBA games, no one wanted to play strategy. So this is Supreme Commander, and by the way, the graphics, they still check out, even so many years later. So, this is how it starts. This is the map, and you start with one unit, the commander, and the commander can build stuff. And then again, you have 4 types of units. You have air, you have naval, and then you get robots and vehicles. I think vehicles are more heavily armored. But yeah, look how much you can zoom out. Right? And you build your base, and then you attack enemies. It's just so good. And you can also build super weapons, which take a lot of resources, but they're so awesome because they're huge. They're just, and in order to win, you'll have to take down the enemy commander. And this is a land battle. And you have like so many tanks as well. I mean, you get your front tanks, you get scout tanks, you get artillery tanks, you get support tanks that do weird things like either heal or. Oh, and you also have like amphibious things. I think this is just a unit particular to one of the factions. And here you have something more close to a super weapon. I don't think this is the super weapon, but it's no, actually never mind. That is a super weapon. You get air transport, so you can lift up several units. But I'm curious if you can see some of the other. Oh yeah, here's a cool super weapon from the other faction. I think like no one actually builds them because it's a lot more effective if you just build units from the cost of making this, and it's so difficult to make. Like the opponent has ample opportunity to take you down if you try to build one of these things. Yeah, so overall you have like over 60 units per faction if I'm not mistaken. Like it's huge. So yeah, it's really. Oh, and you have nukes as well. Like you can launch orbital strikes and stuff. It is so sad that this game just didn't have a sequel. Yeah, the MOBA they overtook the real time strategy games, which is very sad. Have you ever played Planetary Annihilation? This is a hard RTS, especially when you get multiple planet systems. Yeah, Planetary Annihilation is something that I didn't get into. It's just because of the planet. Let me see if is the game that I'm thinking of. Yeah. So it's literally the same concept, but the way they made the map is just putting me off. I never liked it. So, um, yeah, you're like on this planet. God, just so you have like your units on the planet and you move around the planet, and it's just like meh. The only way it looks cool is because they're zoomed in. But yeah, so you can see here, right? They're on the planet, that you get like units that disappear as they go over the horizon. I just didn't like it, right? Like the idea that you're playing and you see the units coming from the bottom, like kind of defying gravity in a way. But yeah, it's like Supreme Commander, and I think like this one even has a different type of unit. So you have airplanes, you have ships, you get your robots and your vehicles, and you also have space units. So now you have things that are in space. And then I just personally didn't get into it just because of the way the planet is shaped. I didn't like the camera thing. No, I'm not going to play Foxhole. I did not play Pong. Civ 5 did have nukes, yes. I think everyone knows about the Gandhi Civ 5 thing. Anyway, I think I'll end it here. Thank you guys for watching. Really appreciate the super chats. And I have to go to bed because tomorrow there is more work to be done. And I'll see you guys then. Take care.